Welcome to Her Life Unscripted podcast, inspiring burnt out, stressed out, and stretched thin women to embrace the unscriptedness of life. Hosted by Anna Osborne.
Hello, ladies, and welcome to Her Life Unscripted episode 50. I am your host, Anna Osborne, and I am just truly delighted to be here with all of you today. To start off with, I'm getting ready to record this episode, and I think that there might be some expletives used. I don't know. I just feel it in my body that it might happen. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this episode explicit, which doesn't usually result in tons of explicit words. But for some reason, in terms of journaling and kind of outlining today's show, I just have so much passion behind it. And sometimes when I get going, a curse word or two flies. So I'm just going to throw that out there for all of you to know to go ahead and put earbuds in if you're listening at work or around small kids. I guarantee it's not going to be, gratuitous profanity, but I want to at least let you know that there may be a few curse words here. But I just am so excited to be here with all of you today. I am actually in the middle of a little cold, which is so annoying in the springtime. I don't know why colds bother me more during the spring and summer than they do during the winter. I just feel like winter is all about hibernating and staying inside. And when a cold happens, you're kind of more inclined to do that versus when it is beautiful outside. We are full spring here the first week of April and flowers are blooming. It's just gorgeous. And I have the super annoying cold. So I've got some hot tea that's hanging out with me while we talk. And I just had a cough drop in my mouth. So hopefully I'm not too raspy, but that's the thing with a weekly podcast. You got to roll and record these episodes, even if your voice may be a little scratchy. So that's what's going on my front. And before we kind of dive too much in, I do want to spend a little bit of time highlighting our fourth sponsor for the Shine Retreat. I wanted to highlight them at the very beginning when they were all so generous with their time and their energy and their resources to be able to obviously sponsor the Shine Retreat. And then we'll highlight them again as, in a couple months to give some more kind of airtime to them because, like I said, they were so generous to be able to pay to be a sponsor and really support us in being able to bring down the cost of the Shine Retreat. And so our fourth sponsor is the lovely Diana Rudolph. And Diana is a doTERRA consultant. And for those of you that don't know doTERRA, it is an essential oil product, but it really is based on, really learning to heal holistically and really kind of this idea of balanced wellness. And what I love about Diana and her work is that I just think essential oils is this amazing category of stuff that I'm just starting to scratch the surface on in terms of understanding the benefits of and really being able to incorporate them into my daily life and also my family's life. Funny enough, I'm going to share the story, and luckily my son's still a baby, so he can not be embarrassed by this. But when a couple months ago, he was just having a tough time sleeping, and I thought, you know what, before he goes to bed, I'm just going to do like a little foot rub with a little bit of lavender essential oil just on his feet just to kind of help him soothe and sleep a little bit better. So I was rubbing his feet and he just thought it was like the most amazing thing to have all of mom's undivided attention, rubbing those cute little feet and, the smell of the lavender. He just loved it. So we're kind of just sitting in his bed, having this quiet moment right before bedtime, just kind of, hanging out a little bit. And he just has this look on his face like he's just the most content little satisfied boy ever. And he says to me, he goes, "Mom, it smells really good." Like, "Yeah, it does, doesn't it? What is it?" And I kind of told him a little bit about, what it is. And he said, "It feels good on my feet." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, And he goes, do you do belly rubs too?" And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "I just think if you rub my belly with that too, it'll help me sleep." So my sweet little boy, I rubbed his belly with a little bit of the, the oil, and he was just this happy little clam, but it was just so sweet. This little look on his face of like, "Do you do belly rubs too? I think that could really help." So just this great little moment that I got with him of being able to slow down. And sure enough, the essential oils really helped with sleep. And he is just kind of back on his regular pattern of sleeping, even though he is my early riser. So anyways, just a cute story about really the effects of essential oils. And Diana knows her stuff so well. And I'm just excited to be able to learn more about all the healing benefits and just the wellness and the holistic healing that happens when you incorporate essential oils into your daily living. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to Diana at drudolph@ap apu.edu, and I'll have her information in the show links, the show notes also, or you can always go to shineretreatforwomen.com and read more about her because she is one of our lovely sponsors. So We are, the first week of April, the early bird discount has expired for the Shine Retreat, but we still do have some room left. So if you are interested in attending, I do encourage you to reach out. We would love to have you there. It's really just turning into this amazing, amazing event. And I know Mari and I are both really excited to be able to be hosting it and just really bringing a community of amazing women together. So that is our housekeeping, and I'm excited to share those things with you. But on to the show now. So we are in a new month, which means that we have a new theme for the month. And I just love the way that these themes are working out. This month of April, we are going to be talking about why women rock, which is a super fun theme because I've got a really great interview to share and my own ideas of why I think women are just exceptional. Now, this is not to say that men are not exceptional. Let me put a little bit of asterisk there just for you guys to know. A compliment to one is not a criticism of another. And so I could very much do a whole series on why men rock, but this is called Her Life Unscripted, not His Life Unscripted. So I'm going to be doing a month-long theme of why women rock. And the reason that I wanted to do that is because I've just been having these dynamic experiences of getting to know women through these interviews, through this community, through people registering for the Shine Retreat. Like there's so many ways that I'm just getting these amazing connections with women. And what I'm finding, this common thread that is weaving all of these interactions and these conversations and these relationships together is this recognition that women need to be reminded more and more and more of why they rock. For example, last night I went out to dinner, my family, and then there's another family of my very good girlfriend who we travel together, or we live down the street from each other, we family vacation together, just a very, very close family and a close friend. And we're waiting for our table, as you will when you've got 8 people in a dinner party. And we've got 4 kids and 4 adults. And there's my daughter and her daughter are around the same age. And there's this other little girl who's kind of running around the little courtyard patio waiting for her table with her family. And my daughter and my friend's daughter are sitting and they're coloring, right? And I went to my daughter and I said, hey, why don't you invite, this little girl to come and sit and color with you? Because she was very curious. You could tell she wanted to be invited. So my daughter, invites her and she comes and sits at the table and her mom kind of nods to me that it's okay. So sitting at this little table in the courtyard and, I help her get a coloring page and they've got the crayons in the middle of the table. So everybody's sharing, right? And the mom says to me, wow, you're such a better mom than me. I can't believe you brought that stuff for your daughter. And there was a part of me that was so saddened by that comment. And she said it kind of jokingly, but I thought, oh my goodness, here is this mom who I'm sure is absolutely amazing. And she sees me organizing these girls with a crazy coloring book, which P.S. I didn't even bring, my friend brought. And she says, she discourages herself. She criticizes herself. You are such a better mom than me. And I just was like, oh my goodness, we need to be reminding women at every turn, around every point of every day, that they are amazing. And whether you are single or in a relationship, whether you are a mama or you are not, I don't know what the words are that you use to identify yourself, but I so hope you know that you are amazing and that no matter what you do, you're really doing your best. And, this mama didn't happen to have a coloring book. And who cares, right? We had enough to share and it wasn't defining us as better or worse moms from each other. We just had more to share. And I believe in my life, one of my favorite quotes in the world is, when the table is full, just build a bigger table, right? There is enough for all of us that when there is no room left at the table, you don't start excluding and leaving people out or criticizing. You say, come on over, let me build a bigger table. And that was just something that, spoke to me so much last night at dinner of needing to remind women of why they're so amazing. So that, my friend, is what we are doing this whole entire month. And today, the reason that I'm highlighting why women are amazing is because they are fearless. That is one of the reasons why I believe women rock. And I just think they're freaking fearless. Like women are amazing, brave creatures. And so that's what we're talking about today is why women rock. One of the reasons is because they're fearless. So just to give you a little backstory on this, I usually plan my themes out a little bit in advance, meaning maybe a month or so in advance. And so I've been thinking about all these reasons of why women rock and what are the 4 that I want to highlight. And I had a different one set for today, but then I had this really interesting experience a couple of days ago with my daughter, and I had to scrap the whole idea, scrap the outline for the show, scrap all my research, and dive into this topic. So this is how relevant it feels to me. So we went as a family to go see Beauty and the Beast a couple nights ago, and I was a little nervous bringing the kids. The kids just turned 5, but I really wanted to see it. And I had my husband and I were going to go for a date night and go see it, but I really wanted the whole family to go. So I reached out to some friends who have same age kids as me and asked if it would be too scary. And, they said, no, honestly, our kids did great. They're similar ages. They'll be fine. And so I asked my kids and they said, what if we're too scared? And I said, well, we can talk about that if it happens, but you guys have seen the movie. You've read the book, the animated version. You know what happens in the story, right? And they said, yeah. I go, so if you get scared when we're watching it, you know how the story ends, so you know it's going to be okay. And they both said, yeah, that makes sense. So we go to the movie, right? And we're sitting there. And P.S., for those of you that haven't seen it, I promise there's no spoiler alerts in this episode. But can I just say it was beautiful? I loved it. They just did an amazing job with it. And I'm so glad that we went. But we're sitting there. And in the movie, Belle's father uses the word fearless to describe her mother, Belle's mom. And my daughter turns to me and she says, Mama, what is fearless? And we're in the middle of the movie. And so for those of you that know 5-year-olds or have 5-year-olds in your life, it was more like, Mom, what is fearless? Right? Like it's so loud. And I'm like, okay, baby. So at first I started to say, or I thought my answer was going to be, it means that you're not afraid. And then I realized, no, that's not what fearless means. I get it. If you go on and Google or go to your dictionary and type in fearless definition, you actually will get not afraid as a definition. But I totally disagree with that. I don't think that fearless means that you're not afraid. I believe that fearless means that you're afraid and you still do it, right? That you don't let fear stand in the way or make decisions for you. And I so believe that women are amazing at this. There are so many things that happen along our unscripted journey. So many things, countless things that we can't even begin to describe to our closest, most personal, and most intimate friends. Things that cut us so deeply and things that shape who we are, right? And those things create fear. And yet women are fearless. Because I see every single day in my psychotherapy practice, in my friend groups, in my social networks, I see women marching forward despite having fear in their lives. They don't let it make them not afraid. They use it as something that is they walk through. They walk through the fear in order to get to the other side. And so when we're thinking of this idea of fearless and why women rock, it's because they are fearless. I don't know about the women in your life, but the women in my life, they frickin' show up. Like they show up after brave, scary, frightening, terrifying things, and they show up anyway. And I have chills right now thinking about the walks that I have seen women go through after they have gone through hurt. And whether it's loss or injury or breakups or things that are just like our whole world is turned upside down, I see women showing up on a daily basis. And that makes me proud to be a woman. Because if I can model even just an ounce of that fearlessness to my daughter, then I feel like I'm doing an amazing thing in this world. I'm creating a ripple effect that I can be so profoundly proud of. And so my answer to my daughter when she said, Mama, what does fearless mean? I said, baby, it means when things scare you, it doesn't make you stop. You still do them. And she just, of course, in her little 5-year-old way went, oh, okay, and went back to the movie. But for me, I needed to hear those words. I needed to hear that fear is not a closed door, right? Fear can be gnarly and it can be ugly and it can be very real, but fear is not the end. Fear is what we walk through in order to be on that fearless journey. And I just have to say for the women that are listening right now who think, you know what? I'm not fearless. I let fear rule my life. I know you. I've been you, right? And I see you and I know that it's scary to think that you can fight against fear. I get that piece, but I know you're fearless. I know that you don't need to let fear be a dead end. It doesn't need to be a locked door that you can't find your way through. And before we get to that idea of how to not let fear be a dead end or a locked doorway, I want to include one other thing that really stood out for me as I was doing some research about fearlessness, which is our wonderful fearless girl, right? I know you guys have all had an opportunity via social media to be able to see her via the news. She has become this kind of icon in terms of statues and things like that over the past few weeks. And so she's called Fearless Girl. And for those of you that aren't familiar, she is in the financial district, Lower Manhattan in New York City. And she is a statue that had an immediate hit, right? Everybody just absolutely fell in love with her. She's standing there in that warrior pose, that Tony Robbins pose with her hands on her hips, with this kind of look on her face, this look of kind of defiance, her feet firmly planted on the ground, that power stance, right? And so what I love about this fearless girl, this image, right, this statue that has come out in recent weeks is that it has become this iconic. I don't want to use the word iconic because it's still new, so it can't be iconic yet. But she just, has this power around her and the sensation around her because she really is staring down a bull. Right? And so to me, this fearless girl speaks to the fearlessness that I'm talking about today about, why women rock is because we as women do look down and we stare at that charging bull and we go anyway, right? That being able to recognize that our ability to move through fear rather than let it be a barricade or something that stops us is so, so powerful. And honestly, it's been this really positive response that people have had to the fearless girl and, raising conversations around her, and not only in terms of gender equality and gender diversity and those sorts of things, but also in terms of women empowerment. There are some people that, of course, aren't pleased with it and so on and so forth because they see it as this act of corporate feminism because it's in the financial district and it's more there as, kind of the financial district trying to bring more equality to women in the financial world and jobs. But really, I think on a larger scale is that people really looking at it as this really, really powerful sculpture. And also, I think that we can all look at it as, some sort of marketing ploy or advertising trick by this financial firm. But I think that it's beautiful. And it just the imagery speaks to exactly what we're talking about today, which is that women rock because they are fearless, right? They look down the barrel and go anyway. There's times they've been injured and they still move forward. And to me, I think that is just one of the most beautiful, loving, courageous, brave things that we can do is that despite being hurt, we still move forward. And again, that's something that I see in all of my female relationships. I don't know a woman in my life that has not been hurt and doesn't find a way to move forward irregardless. And all of you guys that have been so open with your feedback and your encouragement and just your own stories. That is a common thread that I hear in your stories too. So before we kind of wrap though, is I want to give a few kind of ideas or action items that we can take when it comes to fear and really moving as women into owning our fearlessness, right? And one of the things that I think, is recognizing that being fearless doesn't mean that you're not afraid. Being fearless means that you're afraid and you keep moving through it anyway. And that to me is very, very, very powerful. The second piece is that in order for us to move through fear, we have to have a support team around us. We have to have people around us that will help bolster us up, help to kind of reload our weapons and mend our armor. We have to have people around us that are our soft landing, right? Our ability to gather strength from, gather motivation and inspiration from. And so in order to move past fear and not let it be an obstacle, an insurmountable obstacle, we have to have people around us. And third, the biggest thing that I know in my life of being able to move past fear and not have it be a closed door is that we have to be able to ask for help, right? Part of why women rock is the ability that, or I guess the potential we have as women to rally around and really support each other. And so I believe that we are fearless when we lean on each other, when we ask for help, when we say, I want to move through this, but I can't do it on my own. And to me, that helps open doors that maybe we didn't have enough oomph to open on our own. But when we go shoulder to shoulder, we can open more doors. We can let that fear actually be something that is we see on our journey, that not something that stops us on our journey. So those are the three things that really stand out to me when I think about fear and fearlessness. And as women, how we really just embody that fearless nature. And it doesn't mean that we're not afraid, right? It means that despite being afraid, we still don't give up. And I just want to give my inspiration, my motivation, my encouragement to all of you listening. If you are overwhelmed by fear, if you are overwhelmed by the obstacle where it feels so big, you don't know how you can heal past this, grow past this, learn past this, I encourage you to reach out. I encourage you to reach out to people in your network, reach out to me, reach out to other people, reach out, create that support system so that you can go shoulder to shoulder with somebody and combat fear together. But know that in this moment, you are amazing because I know that you're fearless. I know that you look at that charging bull, right? Just like this fearless girl standing in Manhattan, this beautiful sculpture. I know that you've looked down the barrel of fear, and I know that even if it's temporarily slowed you down, that is not a permanent place that you will be. I know that because you are a woman, and women are fearless. So that is it for today's show, my friends. I want to leave you with that because it's just, it's a perfect place to end. I do encourage you. We are still taking registrations for the Shine Retreat. Mari and I would be so excited to have you join us because it is about joining together and going shoulder to shoulder and doing the healing work so that whatever is creating an obstacle in our life or whatever is preventing us from creating movement, that we don't let fear be the thing that blocks us. So let's plan for that. You guys can find out more about the shineretreatforwomen.com at our website, and we would love to have you there. And as always, please reach out via the SpeakPipe app or via email to Anna@herlifeunscripted.com. I would love, love, love to hear from you. And to all of my fearless women out there, I am so honored to know you. Thank you for taking the time today to let me into your worlds, into your hearts. And I am just truly, truly honored, and I believe that you rock. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Want to learn about the latest retreats, workshops, and speaking events hosted by Anna? Head over to herlifeunscripted.com to get in on all the juicy details. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast so we can continue to grow our amazing audience. Lastly, be sure and send in your voice feedback via the SpeakPipe app or to Anna@herlifeunscripted.com. We can't wait to hear from you.